May the force be with you, and welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. In this episode, we'll be going more in depth into episode 3 of the Mandalorian season 3. Spoilers ahead, guys, so you've been warned. But Akram, going into episode 3, I think it was a nice kind of change of pace, or a nice kind of intimate story between two characters. But from the beginning, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I said in the other review there was a lot that happened here, a lot of mixed elements, or kind of like genres too even. There was a lot of mystery and there was a lot of action. We get to see the aftermath of what happens with the Mando and also Bo-Katan. That was really nice to see. Although they didn't really went anywhere with it, I'm hoping that next episode they will. But what really shocked me was we get to see a character that came back, and his name is Dr. Pershing. That was really cool. And again, it's kind of like an episode of Reformation and trying to right the wrongs in a way. So it was really sweet. In a way, kind of bittersweet because of the ending. Let's start with your thoughts.
Yeah, it was awesome to see. So in the beginning, we see Bo-Katan and Mando, right from where we left off in episode 2. They made it out of the living water. So I like that Bo-Katan kind of asked Mando about if he saw the mythosaur, but she didn't really mention it. So it makes me wonder if like she has like some deeper intention, like we talked about in the last episode. But then from there we get this great kind of starfighter chase because apparently like there's like imperial warlords that Bo-Katan kind of pissed off, so we get to see the TIE interceptor chase from the trailer. That was really cool. I love the starfighter episodes.
Yeah, I wonder if that has a connection to what we see with Dr. Pershing a little bit later. I wonder, because that's really random too, and it felt very I don't know how to say, like intricate, this operation, because they ended up destroying her throne room or her palace or whatever with TIE bombers. So I was like, why do that? Why even be there? Right. Why do all of that? That doesn't make, there was no intro.
Yeah, they mentioned that too. They were like, there's a lot of starfighters for a warlord. So it makes me wonder, like there was like this deeper subplot that they'll probably build up to. I like just seeing like Mando and Bo-Katan, like they work really well together. Like sometimes I'm mad when like they fight each other because they work really well as like allies, even like in like starfighter combat. I also love seeing like the Mandalorian gauntlet ship in live action. That was really cool. How does like that cool like wing thing?
Like, yeah, I know. I love them together. I kind of ship them. I'm like, every time they fight, I'm like, Daddy, stop.
He's so mad. So we see that they've kind of bombed her palace, but then we kind of cut to Coruscant. I didn't expect to see that. I was like, holy shit, it looks so great live action. Like,
oh, it looks perfect.
It feels like we didn't even really leave Coruscant. Maybe it's because like we just reviewed Andor and we kind of saw it there. But this is a different Coruscant because this is after the Empire. So we see like the New Republic has kind of taken over and things are kind of reforming little by little. And then we cut to Dr. Pershing. He's kind of giving this statement of his denouncement of the Empire. And it was cool to see like his story, like his perspective on like what it means to be like an ex-imperial. And he goes through this Reformation program called the Amnesty housing, which I thought was really cool. It kind of reminded me of like how they treated like the German scientists like after World War II.
Yeah, that was really cool. I love how these live action shows are just animated too. They show different sides, and it makes it more realistic in a way. And it fills in the details, really. So that was really cool to see. I feel like, again, he's a doctor first, and he just wants to right his wrongs. I thought though that from where we left off, I thought he was going to be like this guy working undercover, but he was very naive. He was like very nice, just trying to make a change. But he also meets another character. So why don't you tell us about that character?
Yeah, so he actually runs into a couple of Amnesty housing residents, and they're kind of having this cool like get together. It was like a nice little conversation, and we actually see Moff Gideon's lieutenant, as we find out her name is Elia Kane. And at first I was kind of suspicious where he saw her in the court scene or with Dr. Pershing, and now we get to see her up close. and she has this kind of guise, like she's changed her ways, right? Or she's kind of denounced the Empire. But yeah, as we see, like they kind of form this closer relationship. She even manages to get him like some like these kind of outdated like imperial rations. I thought that was pretty cool too.
That was sweet. That was sweet of her. Yeah, and it was foreshadowing too. Like, how did she get those? Where did she get it from?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was cool because like it shows like Dr. Pershing, like you said, he's a doctor first, right? His passion has always been like his research. And it shows us like our inner desires or ambitions, we really can't let those go sometimes, like even if it's for the change of good, right? Sometimes we just have to stick to what we know. And it was kind of sad to see like he was kind of like the leading expert in his field, but now it's kind of not necessary anymore because the New Republic like outdated cloning, which I thought was a cool mention actually. So yeah, we kind of see like he has this kind of longing for his research again. So he kind of he goes with Elia to like the outskirts of Coruscant, where we see like this abandoned Imperial junkyard, and it was cool to see like we saw like a Star Destroyers, but they were kind of like stripped down. Yeah, what did you think about that scene?
Yeah, that was really fun. I was so awkward in that train. I was like, I felt so awkward. They were making so much noise, and they're trying to escape from these two Republican
days,
droids.
Am I right?
Yeah, yeah, they're trying to escape from these two Republican droids. They were preaching MAGA and stuff like that, and then they escaped from the back. I was like, how the hell are you gonna come out of that unscathed? But thankfully, you slowed down. And yeah, so. It kind of reminded me of Jedi Fallen Order as well, the shipyard. And they went inside there. But there was something really off about the other character. It was really strange. I felt like she was using reverse psychology or something. I was like, this guy is very naive. He's not seeing it. And he really wants to do good. But let me tell you something. There's a complex situation here, because not only did we get introduced to him again, explaining about his mother and stuff, right? He wants to do better. But he can't because he was with the Empire, and now he's with the New Republic, and they're trying to, I don't know, he's just trying to work for him at this point, maybe get his bearings at some point. But he still wants to do good. He has a lot of talent, but they still won't let him because who he was. Here's the stupid thing. It's like, okay, you could get rid of cloning, but he has a sound idea. Why not clone organ parts? That was really dumb that they did not want to do that. I'm like, why? Maybe the New Republic also isn't that good when you think about it. Like, I feel like this is a situation that's kind of in a gray. It's just complicated. And that's why I think it was kind of important to get his perspective in this episode, because there's a parallel with Bo-Katan in a way, because she's going through a lot. She's in denial, it seems. And even we'll see later on when she's talking to the armorer, because we get to see that a little later. But anyways, this confused the hell out of me too, because they were in a hurry. They were trying to get the supplies they needed, which, to be realistically, doesn't seem like a lot of supplies. It was just some glass bottles. And then he could have got that at the bar.
So
and
Etsy
then,
or something.
yeah. And then he was like, she heard something, and they had to go. They had to run, and they saw lights. They finally make it outside. There was like all these rebels there, or police, Coruscant police or whatever, and it ended up being a setup. She took the box from him, and then just like he had to be arrested. That confused the hell out of me, because I was thinking, well, maybe it's because she wants what's inside the box, like because he, as a professional, he's picking out the parts. But at the same time, too, don't you have other scientists that could do that and stuff? I mean, if you could engineer a ship to fly and go hyperspace, surely you could figure out some sort of cloning thing. And then we kind of get to the end, and we see he is trapped. He's about to be kind of lobotomized by the mind flare. The mind flare was in Rogue One, am I correct? Is that beast or something, remember?
Yeah, well, that's funny because when they said mind flare, I kept thinking of Stranger Things.
Vecna comes out.
Vecna, yeah.
No,
you hear like the grandfather.
It was
like,
a dream. I'm like, oh no.
Like he had to play like the running up the hill song.
He floats and stuff. That would be wild.
Yeah,
that
they
was
didn't
sad too.
really get into. I think you mentioned like Rogue One. They had like this kind of weird alien that did like mind control, but
oh no, and it also showed up in Andor. I think some sort of version. Remember when they were
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So
they
maybe,
use it a lot.
yeah, maybe they replicated that somehow because it was like
Yeah.
this weird, like you said, like lobotomy, or like they had like these. It was kind of remind me of Bucky from Winter Soldier because like have this like headset thing that kind of like put like messages or like signals in his brain or something.
But it's a nicer version though because he wasn't suffering at first. He was like smiling.
Well, it's interesting that they mention that because it feels like something that the Empire would do, right? Because they had the scientists.
You're onto something.
They had the scientists there, like that calamari dude. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's outlawed by the New Republic, but it's a nicer treatment, right?" Ever. So it's kind of
You're
like
onto something right now. Yes.
It's kind of like the New Republic still kind of retained a lot of shady things from the Empire.
Yes.
Because it's about control and order, right?
My friend, guess what? The Empire just says it badly, right? The New Republic says it a little bit better. It's a little bit more tasteful in a way. So there you go.
They
so
put
they're
it with
kind of the same
with a smile on their face, right? It's kind
exactly.
of like, it's kind of like Woodbury, like from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Like they want to make it seem like it's nice and cozy, like it's a time of change and peace, right? But really they're doing a lot of like I would say like Geneva Convention like practices like on the low. Like I don't know, it was weird because like it's kind of showing like not everything has kind of changed, right? I mean they're putting on the guise of okay, this is a new order now, this is a time of peace, but they still kind of are doing these kind of illegal or immoral actions, right? But yeah, I think it'll be like a bigger setup for the sequels because I was always mad about the sequels because like they even mentioned in this episode like they were stripping down like the Alliance fleet, whatever. So they're becoming very like demilitarized, but it kind of didn't pay off because look what happened like with the First Order and shit. But yeah, so that was an interesting scene. So then we see kind of Elia's true nature or her true agenda, right? So then she kind of puts the remote on the high setting for the mind flare, so it's kind of like they're erasing his memories. So
or probably killing him. I wonder if she wanted him to die like by accident or something. But that's a stupid way to that's stupid. That guy's the guy with the dreads or whatever the shit that he has on, he's gonna come back and say, hey, what happened? That's a switch. That's not gonna go by itself. Like that's really stupid unless she switches it back down. And were there not cameras? And like you could have just pushed this guy off of a high building or something.
I hated that they didn't even like interrogate him or like give him like a fair trial. That's why I said like they're doing a lot of like shady shit. Because wouldn't you want to like interrogate him first before you just hook him up to this big machine, right? So it's kind of like not fair that they put him through all this shit and didn't even like question him like why he did this or anything. Because he even said like it's a trap, like it's a trap.
Yeah, well they're stupid. They basically they were thinking, oh, he's just impulsive. Empire,
right? Yeah,
I just want to,
he was probably like an imperial sympathizer or something, right? So
right.
But then it's like it makes you mad too because like she's also from the Empire too, so it's like, oh, what? Because she wears the badge and she's an undercover cop, you automatically trust her, right?
Yeah, but I wonder. I think she's working. That's why I think there's a connection between the TIE interceptors and her. Like I think they're all under someone.
Well, let me get your thoughts. They mentioned Moff Gideon in this episode, like one of the amnesty guys. They mentioned like he might have escaped or something like. So do you think like he's still out there? Like because we didn't see him in this episode. I was surprised because I thought we would have like seen his like perspective. Like maybe he's in a prison or something. I wonder like maybe she helped him escape somehow because she's working for the New Republic. She's kind of like this intelligence. They said too she's like a comms officer, right? So she's about intelligence. Yeah. So she's kind of like this Russian spy inside the New Republic too. So maybe she's helping him out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it'll be a little weird to introduce another person, kind of like another Moff. It'll be kind of weird because you had Moff Gideon, and you would think that he'll be the top guy. And anyway, he was like doing stuff that leads to the sequels, so he's kind of an important character. I guess perhaps he escaped, maybe changed in a way after his experience with another version of a mind flare. Maybe he's worse or something. I don't know. The Empires, they're always super sneaky. I don't know if we'll see that come to play a little bit later on in this season. Again, this season, that makes sense. Maybe something happened to him where he found his own version of a reformation, but it's for the worse. He's like times 2 bad, maybe, and more sneaky and smart with it because he can't afford to just be out in the open anymore. He has limited resources. So let's kill the top dogs. Well, we use Dr. Pershing. We don't want him to spill the beans on something.
Right.
And we had to discreetly dispatch him. So who else are you going to get rid of? Probably Mando a little bit later on. But at least Mando's with Bo-Katan and the crew. So it's going to be a nice fight.
Yeah, I'm thinking like maybe all he wanted was the research aspect of it. Because Dr. Pershing had a lot of, he mentioned he worked with the Kaminoans, like with cloning technology. So I think Moff Gideon wanted like a perverse version of that with Grogu. Like maybe he was trying to study like the midichlorians or something. So I think like that's why she went through all this bullshit, was just to get the technology right. Or
I don't think so now. Now I know why I think she did that. She just wanted him to say the words. She was there when he was making that speech. She was doing the research. She was seeing how he was talking so good about cloning. And then later on they had conversations. She sees his personality. He wants to do more. She's spying on him a little bit, right? She just wants him to say that he wants to do better again and try to reattempt this cloning technology. But Moff Gideon doesn't want that. He doesn't want anybody to do that. He doesn't want anybody to have cured organs.
Yeah, that's true.
So let's get rid of him. Yeah.
Complete monopoly over the research, right?
Exactly.
That makes sense, yeah. And especially now it'll be even easier because the New Republic outlawed cloning. So it's like there's only a few people who really know about it, right?
Right.
I wonder too if maybe Dr. Pershing will make a appearance in Bad Batch because they kind of touched on things with like the cloning project too. Yeah, really interesting stuff. I wonder what's going to happen with that subplot. But going back to Mando's story, they jump out of hyperspace and they go back to Mando's covert, and so now he is finally redeemed. Him and Bo-Katan are born again Christians again.
Yeah, basically.
But I thought this scene was really sweet, even though it was kind of like thrown at the end, because so now he's accepted back into the clan, and Bo-Katan is also accepted into the clan. So the armorer says to her, like, you bathe in the living waters as well, right? And you haven't removed your helmet. You're welcome with us, right? And it wasn't even like a forced indoctrination. She's like, oh no, now you have to be with us. She was like, you could leave anytime, right? So I love the symbology because it's like the Mandalorians, like they're so similar and so different from the Jedi, right? The Jedi, like, they'll just take kids and like indoctrinate you into the society. The Mandalorians, they make it your choice. They say you can come with us, right? You have to respect our creed, but it's your choice eventually. So I love that too. Like they were like, you know, talking to like the other Mandalorians. It felt like such a camaraderie thing. And even though we couldn't see Bo-Katan's face through the helmet, it looked like she had like this look of like surprise that she was so welcomed back into this faction. Even though like she has like issues with the Children of the Watch, it was kind of neat to see like she was so accepted by them.
Well, I actually think now Bo-Katan might be my new favorite character in Star Wars, and I'll tell you why. Again, we see her history, we see how powerful she was, we see how capable she was, and now we see how lonely she is. She's a has-been, right? And she lived by herself in that castle, and it's been destroyed completely. She has nowhere else to go, and what happens? She finds religion, and that seems like intertextuality to me. And she's seen the mythosaur as well. She couldn't believe it. Maybe she doesn't want to believe it. Maybe she doesn't want to believe in anything more powerful at that time. Maybe she thought, well, it's about me and I just want to rule over something. But she has flawed ideology because what do you really want to rule over? Dead bodies, a dead planet?
Right, yeah.
So that's when she kind of wants to believe in a higher power because everything has been stripped from her. And so that's why she gave no push to Mando. Keep your helmet on. She seemed very like, I don't know, I just feel very welcome. Like this is my new home for some reason. At that moment, maybe she's a little bit in denial, but then she looks at the mythosaur statue. And it's like, maybe this is actually where I need to be. I love this character.
Yeah, it was awesome. And I think having the inclusion of her castle blown up makes it seem like she has nowhere else to go, right? I mean, she even said like a lot of her followers left her and became like mercenaries or some shit. So I love what you said about like finding like religion, because I think that's so what's happening right now. I think she's kind of making a new family for herself because she has nothing left. I mean, we've seen from her journey from the Clone Wars, right? She was a powerful lieutenant and then she became leader at one point. she lost her sister, and then eventually she lost the Darksaber. So all she knows is war and struggle, right? But now she's kind of realizing there's something more to life than just fighting all the time. I think just having people that accept you is all you need, right? So now it makes me wonder, like, maybe she's not gonna have bad intention now. Maybe she's kind of just gonna follow Mando on this journey, and she becomes like this kind of integrated character in the series.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome. I love that this whole episode was great. Any final thoughts you had?
Yeah, I love how they tackle so many different types of tones in one episode, and it doesn't feel jarring. In fact, it feels like really blended together. I think the writing here is really quality, and it seems like we're getting more personal with these characters in a way where we could actually see their ideologies, and I appreciate that, especially in Star Wars. I mean, this show's starting to feel very mature, like Andor felt, and I think they probably took some cues from Andor as well. Mm-hmm. So I love Mando. I love Pedro Pascal. Thank you, Pedro Pascal, for giving us another season. But anyways, yeah, what are your final thoughts?
Great episode overall. Yeah, I agree with all your points. It was definitely to have a nice change of pace. I mean, I love everything that we see with Mando, but it was nice to see like a different perspective too. And we kind of see like how, because we didn't really see how the galaxy is changing in the first two seasons. We just basically saw it from the Outer Rim, like from Mando's perspective. It was nice to see like what's happening in like these big corporate government worlds like Coruscant. I thought that world building and seeing like how everything has changed was nice. Even like seeing like the highest mountain in Coruscant was like this big boulder. I thought that was a really nice inclusion, and kind of like, I don't know, like John and Dave, they're such geniuses, man. They come up with really cool concepts that just add like so much to the Star Wars mythology. But yeah, great episode overall. If I had to rate it, probably 9 out of 10 for me. How would you rate it?
Oh, now 9 out of 10, huh? Yeah, I would rate it 9 out of 10 too. I love this episode, genuinely. Dylan, why don't you give John and Favreau, John and Dave a kiss for me? But anyways,
God, if I could give them a smooch, I would. Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This was our in-depth spoiler review for episode 3. Check out our other reviews for Mandalorian if you haven't already, and check out our other playlists. We're still covering episode by episodes every Wednesday. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Until then, this is the way.
This is the way. See you guys.